Hello, everyone. I've got to get used to this mic. I'm not usually mic'd because usually I'm larger and louder than life, so this is going to be something new for me. I'd like to thank you all, and I basically just like to start at the beginning how I ended up here. I took Route 20 straight into town. No, I'm just kidding. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start at the very beginning, which, as Maria from The Sound of Music has said, is a very good place to start. Don't worry, I'm not going to bust into song. Singing is not my thing. We're going to start with my birth. Ladies and gentlemen, I was born on April 23rd, 1974, and to the parents of Jerry and Susan Friedman, their very first child. And of course, I couldn't just have an easy birth. I had to do it my way. And my way was foot first. My left leg was born 4 hours before the rest of me. Yeah. The doctor kept sticking my leg back in, and I kept sticking it right back out. This went on for 4 hours. It was the 70s, so my father was removed from the birthing room. My mom was prepped for a C-section, but I wasn't having any of it. I was coming out my way, dramatic and grand, feet first. My dad always says that I came into the world backwards and never turned around. Which I've realized in thinking about getting ready for this talk, that would be an excellent title for my one-woman show. Isn't that awesome? My friend made that for me specifically for this talk, but hopefully one day, fingers crossed, you will see this sign. Buy tickets, they'll go fast. Okay? So I came into the world with this grand, dramatic entrance, and I have continued to do so for the rest of my life. Stealing a little bit from Paul Reed Smith, I've been dealt some pretty interesting cards. And with those, I have been able to grow and learn and become a better person in life as well as on stage. And I use my life, which helps fuel me on stage. I have no idea what the next slide is all of a sudden. Oh, look, Blown Sideways Through Life, which is one of my all-time favorite one-woman shows that I've done several times, written by Claudia Schiffer. And one of my favorite quotes from that show is, "Everything that made me wrong for this world made me right for the stage." And it couldn't be more true. I am one of the most emotional people you will ever meet. I'm very sensitive, overly sensitive. Some would say emotionally fragile. My boyfriend would tell you that I'm just crazy. Throughout the day, everyone plays a million characters. You have the character of a mom, a father. You play a character, a role when you're working. Walking down the street, if you're having a bad day, you play a role just to smile and say hello. Well, I do that all the time, everywhere. Several different roles during one job. I like to play different people, things like that. I live in my head, and I always have. I've always been different from my peers, a little off, marched to the beat of my own drummer. One of my cousins once at a family bat mitzvah said to me, "Jennifer, you've grown into such a lovely young woman. When you were a child, we were really concerned because you marched to the beat of your own drummer, but you really turned out great." Thanks, Cousin Eddie. That really made me feel great. But the truth is, my friends, my siblings, they all had things that they loved to play with when they were little. Like my sister had Barbies. She had Barbie everything. Convertible, high-rise, you name it, she had it. My brother had all the G.I. Joes I think were ever made. And I was thinking, I didn't really have anything like that. I had some stuffed animals, but I didn't really have anything that fueled me. What did I play with? So I asked my mom one day, "Mom, when I was younger, what was my all-time favorite toy? What did I like to play with the most?" And she said, "Jenny, you want to know the truth?" And I said, "Well, yeah, of course. That's why I'm asking." And she said, "Really, you just pretty much talked to yourself and played in the dirt. That pretty much says it all. But I did. I always have lived in my head. I mean, when I was in middle school, I used to have to walk to and from school. And as I remember walking home, because I walked by myself, I would pretend that I was different people. Like I was a Jewish woman escaping from like the Holocaust. I mean, really weird, bizarre things. But I would walk around and do little rolls on the ground, hide behind bushes and stuff. Like, I'm sure that neighbors thought that I was even more off than I really am. Well, when I was 13 years old, I was diagnosed with a mood disorder. Surprise, an actor with a mood disorder. And when I was younger, that mood disorder manifested itself in anger. But the really cool thing was that out in public, I wasn't angry. I saved it all for when I got home. And so once I got home, I would just explode. My family loved it. I was, of course, eventually sent to boarding school, but that's a whole nother TED Talk. This one will just stick with the acting. So, my parents used to complain all the time, don't roll your eyes, don't make faces, it's not appropriate, because that's what I do. Well, that's what I do on stage, and that's what makes people laugh. So all those times that my mother was like, if you roll your eyes one more time, they're going to get stuck like that. Well, maybe I'd actually be famous if I did do that. Let's see what the next slide is. Exhibiting behaviors. Look how it all rolls together. My current occupation, I work for the ARC of the Northern Chesapeake region, actually. The ARC is a national organization, and we work with developmentally disabled adults. And in that world, when someone acts out, maybe rolls their eyes or makes faces, screams or shouts, we call it exhibiting behaviors. Dun, dun, dun. How awful is that, right? And it's so negative. Well, in the theater world, when you do those things, it fills seats and gets lots of laughs. And that is why I love to be on stage. Because who doesn't a million times a day want to roll their eyes when someone says something really stupid? Who doesn't want to make a funny face when somebody says something that you don't like? Who doesn't want to just burst into a maniacal laughter every once in a while? It's awesome. Everyone should try it. And on stage, I can do it, and you laugh. And maybe afterwards you'll think, well, she was kind of kooky, kind of off the wall, but she's just an actor. If I did that on the street, you'd be dialing 911, and I would be in some serious trouble. But on stage, it's okay to be emotional. That's what people look for. It's okay to make faces. People are always telling me how fantastic I am on stage, how funny I am on stage. They're always asking me how I do what I do. But the truth of the matter is, then let me back up a little bit. I have a little bit of trouble explaining what I do. Because the truth is, I'm just being myself. All the faces I make on stage, all the funny things I say, things like that, those are things that I would say in real life, but don't always get the chance to do because it's not appropriate. But on stage, I can do pretty much whatever I want, to a certain degree, obviously. Let's see what's up next. Oh, look, I'm weird. I am weird. Let's just skip that one. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, Cameron Manheim. They have this thing called copyright, and it's really expensive, so I couldn't buy the pictures, but you guys know who all these people are that I'm going to show you in a minute. The reason I bring this slide up here is because I've got, obviously the acting world is not that open to someone of my beautiful figure. And I have looked this way, well, not this large, but my whole life I have fought with weight. And one thing that my weight has never stopped me from doing is being on stage. But I have come across a lot of adversity. I did come across it from my own mother. who's probably going to kill me that I've now said this in front of a room full of strangers while being videotaped. But sorry, Mom, it's the truth. She told me when I was a senior in high school that I was pretty good at this acting thing, but that I shouldn't really think of it as a career, and I should just view it as an extracurricular activity, because there really weren't that many roles for overweight actresses. There's another one. There's another one. Oh! And that's not one, but I belong on that. We'll get to that one. Let's go back to one. There we go, Rosie ODonnell. What I think my mother was trying to do, because I am overly sensitive, and obviously the acting world is not really somewhere that an emotionally fragile individual should jump into. I think she was trying to protect me, and what she was trying to tell me, it just came out wrong, was that there aren't a lot of leading roles for overweight female actresses. Now this I believe. I do believe that, and I do agree with it. Because if you think about it, when a playwright sits down to write the great American love story, he does not think about the lead female character looking like me. I might, however, be in the play somewhere, but usually as the crazy, gossipy next-door neighbor. But that's okay. Like at first when I was younger, it really bummed me out, I'm not going to lie. I was really disappointed that I couldn't be the beautiful heroine, you know, the one that gets saved. Instead, I was the crazy mother or the really loud, obnoxious, ugly sister. But as I got older, I realized that I appreciate those roles, the roles that I get, so much more. So I don't get passionately kissed often on stage, or ever for that matter. But I do get to laugh, I get to have a lot of fun, and I get to hear you guys laugh. And to me, that's worth more than anything. The first time an audience laughs, the rush I get, there is seriously no high out there that can top it. There is no drug on the street or on the market, for that matter, that can give you the high that I feel when you laugh. And the more you laugh, the higher I feel. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. So the truth is, where do I belong? In my mind, Jen Friedman, dun, 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 belongs on stage. And my advice to all of you, the one thing I hope that you will take out with you, is one, laughter is so important. And you should do it multiple times a day, and you should make multiple people laugh multiple times a day. Two, be yourself. As Paul Reed Smith says, it doesn't matter what cards you were dealt. You can always change those. But just be yourself. It's so important. And the main thing is to just have fun. Thank you.